I never expected her to call me dangerous. Not in that quiet, knowing way that made me pause in the middle of a sentence. The coffee shop was nearly empty, the hum of the espresso machine filling the spaces where conversation might have been. I was at my usual table by the window, the one with a cracked leg that made the chair wobble just enough to keep me alert. She was behind the counter, the woman I'd only ever seen as my friend's mom, but now something else. She handed me my usual, black coffee, no sugar, without asking, like she'd memorized the way I like it better than I did. Her eyes caught mine for a second longer than polite, a flicker of something unspoken. "You're dangerous," she said softly, breaking the silence as she slid the cup across. I blinked, folding a napkin absently, unsure if she meant the drink or me. "Then why did you let me in?" I said, voice barely above the steam rising from the cup. She smiled, a slow, half-remembered smile that held a secret. The days since then have been a mix of small, quiet moments. Watching her laugh at a joke I didn't quite get, the way her hands trembled slightly when she reached for the sugar, or how she paused just before closing the shop, like she was waiting for something or someone. I catch myself staring a little too long, imagining what it would be like to cross the line from familiar to something else. My phone is full of unsent texts, words typed out and deleted again, like my fingers can't decide what to say. Last night, I found myself outside her door, breath caught between the moment and what might come next. She opened it just enough to let me see the soft light inside, then closed it before I could say anything. I'm left wondering, was it the warning or the invitation? And tomorrow? Maybe she'll let me in again. Or maybe this will be the last time the door stays open. The next time we met, it was quieter, no coffee shop buzz, just her kitchen and the faint smell of jasmine tea. She poured the cups without looking up. "My divorce wasn't loud," she said, voice low, almost like sharing a secret. "Just quiet undoing." I nodded, stirring my tea, feeling the warmth but noticing how the silence stretched between us. It was risky, this. Me, her friend's kid, and her, still untangling pieces of a life that didn't quite fit anymore. I wanted to ask if she ever thought about what this could mean, but the words got caught somewhere between wanting and fear. Instead, I reached for a stray crumb on the table and brushed it away, watching her hands do the same with a cracked teacup. She caught my gaze then, and something passed between us, soft, charged, and fragile. I don't know why that moment stayed with me. Maybe because it felt like someone finally saw me. She said nothing when I lingered too close, just shifted her weight, hands tightening around the cup. I wanted to say something, anything, but the words tangled. Last night, her son dropped by, laughter loud enough to fill the hallway. The moment cracked. She smiled at me, but it didn't reach her eyes. I could feel the distance growing in the space between us. Held my breath when her hand brushed mine, then pulled away just as quick. Almost said, "Don't go." But I didn't. Not yet. We sat on the park bench, the city fading into quiet behind us. She talked about her day, offhand, light, but I caught the way her eyes flicked toward her phone, maybe waiting for someone else. The air thickened. "I hate how your son still gets all your attention," I said, voice barely steady. She didn't look up. "I'm not jealous," I added, quick and sharp. "Just scared." A pause. "I'm scared I'm not enough." Her hand brushed mine again, softer this time. I wanted to ask if she felt it too, but the words got stuck. Instead, I waited, wondering if this was the moment everything would change. She stopped answering texts. The door stayed closed when I stopped by. No quick smile, no half-invited coffee. One night, I overheard her on the phone, someone calling her Linda, someone with a voice I didn't recognize. Later, I found a photo tucked away, her ex and a child, faces I never knew she carried with her. Hope tangled with confusion. I wanted to reach out, but the words sat heavy, unsent. The chair across from me remained empty. I didn't feel heartbroken. I felt paused, like life forgot to finish the sentence. The kitchen was quiet except for the hum of the fridge. She looked up when the door creaked. I stood there, caught between stepping inside or walking away. "I'm tired of pretending this isn't happening," I said, voice low, words rough-edged. She nodded, eyes soft but guarded. "I don't know if I can do this. Us. without losing something. A pause stretched between us, heavy with everything left unsaid. Then, her hand reached out, slow, deliberate. A small smile. Okay. Years later, the park bench still held their names, faded but steady. Mornings came with black coffee and quiet smiles at 8:47 a.m. The small routine no one else noticed but them. The silence between words was no longer empty. Sometimes, she'd catch him folding a napkin just so, or he'd glance at her hands, tracing old rhythms. It wasn't perfect. Nothing ever was. But it was real. And that was enough. Maybe that's what they understood all along. Love wasn't a story shouted. It was the quiet that stayed.